Monday, we are on. Yay, okay. So let's start with our affirmation. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So as I was thinking of what book to get, like last week, the Finding Light Out of the Darkness from Karen Berg has sold out. So I thought, you know what? What better? Let's talk about love. So I'm using this from Monica Berg, Rethink Love, and I open it up, and this is what we're going to get from Monica. She says like this, it's under the chapter called Buyer's Remorse. When you stop expecting people to be perfect, you can like them for who they are. That's a quote that she starts with. And then she says like this, the danger of illusions is that they lead to buyer's remorse. This is the point in the relationship when the sense of euphoria is dissipated and the buyer wishes they could send back their order. Research shows that the intoxicating feeling that we enjoy during the honeymoon phase of a relationship comes to us courtesy of a naturally occurring chemical in the brain called dopamine. Its effect on our brains is similar to heroin and cocaine. I'm just looking to see who's smiling over here. Drugs that artificially raise dopamine levels put us at risk for addiction. They also cause horrible withdrawal symptoms when they are taken away. Sound familiar? Like the high from drugs, the honeymoon phase will eventually wear off, which usually happens around the 6-month mark. One person in the relationship suddenly begins to see flaws in his or her partner that they didn't notice before. Since that coincides with a diminishing sense of dopamine-enhanced pleasure, they think, I'm not in love with this person anymore. The thrill is gone, so they can't be the one. But it could be a mistake to break up because sticking it out might allow a deeper love the chance to develop. So just go on, it goes on, but I encourage you, if you haven't read it, it is a great book, Rethink Love. So let's start today. What I want to explain to you is that chaos is not all bad. We love chaos, don't we? We don't. So let's see what we can understand, how chaos is not all bad. So we start as we just did, consciousness is everything. But I want to look a little bit differently at what consciousness means, right? Consciousness, we could say, is my conscious thought, etc. But consciousness is also intention, right? I have a consciousness or an intention of going somewhere. So I intend to go somewhere. Therefore, I have consciousness, intention, which also then leads to direction. My intention is the direction, right? If I have, like you guys, if you intended to come here, then there's that intention includes directions, how to leave your house, how to drive down the streets to get here. So consciousness is direction. Let's go there. Now, what do you do when you get lost somewhere? Well, now we've got a GPS, but in the old days, you roll down the window and you look for somebody in the street and you ask for directions. Why are you asking for directions? Just to say hi to the person? Just to have a nice conversation? Why are we asking for directions? So that we can follow those directions. So this is what I want to get down to. So we came out of the endless world, and I'm not going to give all of you the whole Kabbalah 1, but you understand the general idea. We came out of the endless world, and where did we show up in this world? We show up in the Garden of Eden. And without going through the whole story, we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Every human being on earth, every single one of us, wants to go back to the Garden of Eden. I mean, imagine, if you close your eyes and you think of whatever heaven on earth would be to you, whatever nirvana would look like. You're peaceful, happy, everything's going well, right? You're healthy, joyous, you've got a great relationships and things like that. That would be a taste of our Garden of Eden or our heaven on earth. Why do we want it? Because like we just reminded ourselves, we were there, we got kicked out, And so we want to go back to the place that we left, because remember how great it was. So we all want to go. But what do we need? Direction. We need directions how to get there. If I said to you, well, we just need consciousness, yes, many of us who've been around for years might grasp that, but I want to make sure that it's very plain and simple. We need directions to get back to the Garden of Eden, because it didn't go anywhere. We've spoken about it before. Garden of Eden still exists. We got kicked out. The Garden of Eden wasn't destroyed. It wasn't removed. It wasn't taken off the planet. We were kicked out. So we need direction how to get there. So then I want to talk a little about this power of intention, consciousness. Because consciousness is everything. Great. But sometimes we can say that so much that we don't stay conscious, that we're not being conscious anymore. I don't know if I can say that again. We say consciousness is everything, but sometimes we say it so much and not consciously saying each time. And therefore we can say it, and probably some of us, you forgot you just said it. You're being unconscious about saying consciousness is everything. So what's the power of intention? So I'll give you a couple stories from the Bible with a little Kabbalistic depth to it. So there's the story that we've just been reading, Jacob, the patriarch Jacob. He ultimately is the ideal human being. Those of you familiar with the teachings we have here, he's the central column, the balance between light and vessel, the balance between desire and to receive and desire to share, between the light and vessel. That's in essence what we're working to achieve in this world. So as we all know the Bible story, he falls in love with Rachel. He wants to marry Rachel. Her father's not so quite an honest man. So he says, work for me 7 years, I'll give you my daughter Rachel. Okay, he works 7 years, and without all the details, the father of Rachel, who has an older sister named Leah, being a deceptive man, and you can talk to your teachers, or you can write me and I can share with you, but the father of these two daughters slips in Leah instead of Rachel. Now comes the real power of intention, and you can believe it or not, but this is how the Zohar explains it. Because Jacob didn't see that it was Leah, and that's what you could talk to your teacher about. I mean, how could that be? There are ways, and this is the story. But his intention was to have that first intercourse with Rachel. And because Jacob was on such a high level, the Zohar says that first sperm that was going to come out of Jacob carried the soul of his son Joseph, who became, in our world, in the lower worlds, if you will, more the physical world rather than the completely supernal world of Jacob. He was supposed to be the firstborn. But because Leah was the actual female that he was having intercourse with, the Zohar says that sperm with the soul of Joseph basically went into suspended animation. And the second sperm went into Leah and impregnated her with the soul that we call Reuven, who physically was the firstborn. So the Kabbalists explain by the name Reuven means see a son. Like you'd say, oh, somebody, Mary gave birth. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy. Yeah, but the boy has a name, whatever it was. Reuven just means see it's a son, to give us a hint that the intention of Jacob was not there. And so that in the end of the story, if you're familiar with the ongoing story, the end of the story, basically Joseph became the ruler of the world, second to Pharaoh. So he, in essence, took, if you will, the energy of the firstborn. 7 years later, when Jacob had relations with Leah or with Rachel, then that sperm with the soul of Joseph came into into Rachel, and Joseph was born. So he became the firstborn of Rachel. So it shows us the power of intention. And that's, again, going back to consciousness is everything. Whatever we intend to do is ultimately what will end up. There's the other part. Jacob has a brother, a very nice brother. So nice, Esav, that he wants to kill his brother Jacob. Because Esav couldn't take responsibility for what he did to give away his birthright, to give away the power of the firstborn. So after Jacob receiving it, all of a sudden what's happening now? He's upset. So Esav wants to kill his brother Jacob. On and on and on the story goes. Jacob, it says, sends messengers. And there's various commentaries that they were human beings, that they were also angels, etc. But what was Jacob's intent? Jacob's intent, and in essence how he was directing these angels, was to go to the heart and soul of Esav. Wake up the true nature of God inside Esav: love, care, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance. So when they finally met, it says, instead of biting his neck and killing him, Esav could only hug and kiss Jacob. Why? It wasn't Esav. Esav was awakened to the light inside him by Jacob sending angels. So just on a quick side note, you and I, we talk about, and we've talked, I think, last week, the week before, spreading the books of the Zohar around the world. Now we can understand why. The intention of the center in doing this is because we know the infinite light of God shines through these books. And therefore, every person who's within some radius, energetic radius of these books, is having, like Esav, an awakening of God inside, awakening of love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and tolerance, and therefore pieces of the hatred, the animosity, the negativity, the divisiveness, the fragmentation between the souls in all of us starts to dissipate. And people are closer, there's greater unity, greater love, greater focus. That's the power of intention. Now you have, quickly, Esav. What does Esav do? So later on down the story, yes, Esav is wealthy beyond probably any of our imaginings. Isaac, the father of Jacob and Esav, die. They all come together. They're now going to sort out, if you will, the estate of Isaac. So Jacob, being who he is, he gives his brother Esav the choice. Here is the deed to the cave of Machpelah and what we would call the land of Israel. And then here's all the wealth of Isaac. You take what you want. Now remember, consciousness is everything. Consciousness is intention, it's direction, etc. What consciousness does Esav still have? Because yes, he hugged and he kissed his brother, more because Jacob, by sending the angels, awakened towards Jacob that love, forgiveness, tolerance. But Esav is still Esav. Esav is still desire to receive oneself alone. He's still caught up in the physical material world. So he has the choice, either the land of Israel, energy center of the universe, and the cave of Machpelah, which the Zohar says is the entrance to the Garden of Eden, or he has all this wealth. Consciousness is everything. Consciousness is intention. Consciousness is direction. So which direction do you think Esav went? He took the money and left Jacob, the cave of Machpelah, right, which is in Hebron, and that energy center called the land of Israel, the promised land. So now we have to start asking ourselves, what about us? Where's our intention? Where's our consciousness? So of course, all of us want to say, my conscious with the light, it's always with the light, it's always with the light. Really? If it's always with the light, why even today, wherever you are in the world, evening, morning, afternoon, why today did we already do at least one thing that was reactive? If we really have the consciousness of the light is always here, the light is infinite, the light is all good. Why do we do one reactive thing? Because we allowed our consciousness to be distracted. What the Kabbalah Center is teaching us is, one, how to understand really what consciousness is everything means, how to understand this system of the universe that we can all live and we can follow directions to get back to the Garden of Eden, to re-enter the Garden of Eden that we were thrown out of. Why? Because remember, we want to keep our focus. What did God give us in the endless world? The Creator gave us, we said here in this world, we were in the Garden of Eden. So of course, when we got thrown out and we felt the lack, we want to go back. So think about the endless world. The endless world was endless light. The Creator gave us an infinite desire for lasting, eternal fulfillment from the light of the Creator. So inherently in every human being is the absolute desire for absolute, total fulfillment. Happiness, bliss all the time. Unfortunately, fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, we came into the physical world. And what happens in the physical world? We're no longer just spiritual, ethereal beings. The soul took on a body. And everything in the physical material world also has an energetic pull to it. The energetic, the inherent default setting of flesh and blood is desire to receive oneself alone. The body just wants to eat for itself. The body just wants to be comfortable for itself. It just wants to take, give me. So we've come to understand that here in this world, we have only two choices. We can either seek fulfillment with the influence of the light of the Creator that's in one side of our head, or we can seek fulfillment with the help or the support or the influence of that opponent, that self-centered, egocentric voice that's in our head. That's our choice. Both of them are seeking the lasting fulfillment that God gave us an inherent desire for, as we call it, God-given desire for absolute fulfillment. Think, what are you driven for? Think for yourself. What do you want? What do you want to accomplish today? What do you want this coming week? What do you want to achieve in life? And then ask yourself, why do you want it? Because in some way, shape, or form, it's going to make me feel good. I'll feel satisfied, I'll feel happy, I'll feel powerful, etc. I will. It's about me. I want that sense of fulfillment. But in this world, we have those choices. Instant gratification, listen to the opponent. You get instant gratification, like we were reading from Monica. If you just joined us, we read a little bit from the book of Monica, Rethink Love. So, like she was talking about drugs, instant gratification and then chaos. Then the darkness sets in. Or we can listen to the voice of the light in our head. And we can choose to seek lasting fulfillment by what? By that effort to share, forgiving the person, having greater compassion, greater love, greater care, even greater compassion and mercy on our own selves, instead of beating ourselves up. We have the choice. Either way, it's seeking fulfillment. The difference is when we do it in a reactive way, instant gratification, immediate fulfillment, but then it disappears like a short circuit. If we go the route of the light, which is our purpose here, yes, it's not comfortable in the beginning because we have to pause, hold back that first initial reactive desire, and then we have to act in an uncomfortable sharing way. That person did such a nasty thing to me. The comfortable thing is just keep thinking badly of them. Just keep screaming, yelling. Just talk bad about them. Now we've learned from Kabbalah 1, I got to pause. And for my good, I have to no longer get that instant gratification. I've got to think in the big picture. I want to have long-term fulfillment. So I have to send them light. From my point of view, I have to forgive them. I have to wish them well. I have to, like Jacob, make an effort by sending light out of my heart and soul to theirs. One, break my limitations. And two, reach into their heart and soul and wake up the love and the light inside them. So it's short-term discomfort, long-term fulfillment. Those are our choices. Now, what does it say in the Zohar? We probably all know the saying, but maybe not realizing it comes from the Zohar. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. We all heard it, right? But now let's understand what it means. Because as we're explaining today, as we're understanding and learning today, consciousness is intention. So if we all have good intentions, I want to help people, I want to share, I want to be more generous, I want to be more forgiving, how can the road to hell be paved with those good intentions? Sounds good, right? If you ask people, would you rather be, kind, compassionate, loving, etc., or mean, rotten, and nasty? We would all pick the good. So what does it mean? What do we learn? The road to hell paved with good intention. Why? Because a person can have the good intent and then not follow it with action. Like we said in the beginning, you're on your way somewhere, you have a destination, you want to get somewhere. Why would you ask directions? Because you want to follow the directions to get where you want to go. So if we want to get back to the Garden of Eden, we got to follow the directions. We can't just say, okay, let's close our eyes, meditate, I'm in the Garden of Eden, in the Garden of Eden, in the Garden of Eden. That may be the first minor step. But after you've done that, you have to go out and you have to do the actions of acting like the Creator, removing the darkness from your life, removing the chaos, removing the negativity. You can't just do that by sitting there and meditating. I'm sorry. It's not the way it works. You have to have the intent and then you do the action. So this is why when it says the road to hell paved with good intention, but not following the intent with an action, leaves things as they were. So if our intention to have a better life and we don't do anything about it, person sits home all day and say, yeah, I intended getting a new job, I have consciousness of a new job, I'm envisioning the new job, but they don't go out, send out a resume, go ask for a job, this and this and this. They're going to sit home all day. They'll have no job. And if they have no job and the bills start piling up and they get evicted and this, heaven or hell? It's hell, right? Why is it hell? They had great intent. They even sat and meditated. Even scanning the Zohar. You could scan the Zohar all day, but if you don't use that energy to do actions of transformational sharing outside your comfort zone, stretch beyond what you did yesterday, then nothing changes. So if you had 70% fulfillment yesterday, you can do all those thinking things, but if you don't do the action, then the 75%, 80% doesn't show up. It doesn't manifest. Do we have it in potential? Yes, because God gave us 100%, but it won't be manifest. We won't experience it. So then what starts to set in? If we understand that we've been given 100% light, our purpose in this world is to get back to the endless world by way of, in this world, the Garden of Eden. So if our intention is to get back to the Garden of Eden, and like we said, we need directions to get there. We have to find the ways and the means to get there. We need the support to get there. So even if we have all of the guidance, we have the map how to get there, but we don't do the actions, we don't walk the path, let's call it, then we'll never get back to the Garden of Eden. But that can't happen. So what's the safety net that's set up in this world? A person who may have good intent or even no intention, but either way not doing the actions to stretch themselves, reveal more of the light of their soul, and therefore have the blessings of more light, what will happen? The universe, by means of our own soul, will help us be in challenging situations that are ultimately there to wake us up to how we're not sharing. So if we have the good intent to forgive that person, but we never do the actions to forgive them, then something will keep happening and we'll keep being reminded of that person. We'll find other people in our lives that we didn't forgive. We'll find other people who are, quote, victimizing us, that we can again hold more resentment, hold more anger, hold more judgment against. So repetitive challenges, when you look in your life or other people's lives and you see they're going through the same thing over and over, probably all of us have some friend that you look at that you know very well and you say, this poor person, the last 5 relationships they've been in, they think it's new and exciting each one, but they turn out to be the same thing. They can't see it often because they're caught up in it. We can see it from the side because we're not caught up in the emotions of it, but we can see it's the same pattern over and over. We can see those things with us also, same pattern over and over. Why? Because our soul is trying to... You're not doing the action of forgiveness. You're not doing the action of generosity. You're not doing the action of compassion. You're not doing the actions of gratitude. When you do the actions, then the light gets manifest. So repetitive patterns are just hell, hellish existence. Are they not? Think what's happened to you in your life. I think what's happened to me in my life. When it happens over and over and over again, yeah. Because why? What does the opponent tell us? It's random, it's accidental, how could it happen to me? Why is this going on? I'm such a good person, I'm so nice, I help, I do. Yeah, we can help and do and share at 70%. We're not going to experience the blessing of the 80% that's waiting inside of us. We'll only experience 70. And the other 30 will keep showing up again and again and again to show us how we can share more, by what means and through whom, what pathway. So now, here's where we go back to, is chaos all bad? So if things were all bad all the time, would that be chaos? Think about it. Consciousness, to be conscious is the key. All bad all the time. Is that chaos? No, it's not chaos. If it's all bad all the time, what's chaotic about it? Nothing, it's just all bad all the time. What's chaos? Chaos is when things can't be seen. We don't understand, we're confused. I'm a good person, or they're a good person, bad things happen to them. They did a good action, something bad happened. This bad person did a bad action, they got good. When things seem to be random, accidental, coincidental, confusing, that's chaos, because we don't see the system. If it's all bad all the time, you know, that's it. What else is there? So it's not confusing. It's just all bad all the time. Chaos is when it's up and down. Good one day, bad the next, healthy one day, not healthy the next, and you don't see the pattern. Because if you could see the pattern, then you could fix it. For me, I haven't used this in a long time. Maybe, I hope you know what it is. Rubik's Cube. To me, a Rubik's Cube is absolutely all bad all the time. Never in a million years could I shouldn't say that. I guess if I really started to study about it. But you know what I'm saying? For me, it's just always chaos. Why? Because when, it's not chaos now. I don't have it with me. It's, somewhere in my house, left by my kids. It's not chaos to me at all. But if I pick it up and I start to turn it around and it doesn't get back in order, that's chaos for me. Because I'm trying by twisting it, right? How do you put it in order? If I watch my kids, they twist, they turn, goes back in order. I twist, I turn, it stays chaotic. Stays in disarray. That for me is chaos. What do? They know the system. So when they're twisting and turning, it's achieving the goal, getting back to its perfect self, its perfect state. For me, I twist and turn, it stays the same. Road to hell paved with good intention. Yeah, I want it to get back, but it's just a hellish existence. Why? Because every time I look at it, it's another disarray, but it's still in disarray. Maybe I've got, 5 or 6 on one side, and then it goes back, I twist again, now it's only 2 or 3. So it's chaotic. That's painful. That's the hellish existence. Repetitive challenges, when we don't see the essence of it, that's hell. What do we learn from Kabbalah 1 moving forward? We learn how to see the pattern. We learn how to understand the system. If we don't understand the system, like my kids with the Rubik's Cube, they've learned the system, so as they follow, they'll turn and turn and turn and turn and turn, following the system till it goes back to order. We learn from Kabbalah 1 forward, first how to see the big picture. If you don't see the big picture, and you're only looking at the small picture, then of course it's going to be chaotic. I look at the small picture, here's the Rubik's Cube. I'm twisting and turning like they twist and turn. Theirs goes back into a perfect state. Mine stays in disarray. They're in heaven, I'm in hell. That's why I haven't touched it. That way I don't feel hell. In our life, you can't do that though. I just want to let you know. You can't just set aside. Because has it not happened? Have you not set aside from your life physically that person who did that thing that upsets you every time you think about it? So you set them aside. Did it take away your hellish existence? Did it take away the pain and suffering you go through every time you hear their name or think about them? No. No. Because in life, like we said, the Creator gave us in the endless world all the light for eternal bliss. We came here to share that light, express it, extend it out of us in higher and higher levels till we're manifesting the 100%. So you cannot, like the Rubik's Cube, just set it aside forever. I don't ever have to look at another Rubik's Cube for the rest of my life. But I do have to look at myself for the rest of my life. I have to see where I'm revealing the light, where I'm not revealing the light. And I have to live my life and be able to see, because I've learned that everything out there is a reflection of me, to help me see where I'm still not sharing, to see where I can share more, how I can be more kind and more compassionate, more generous and more tolerant and more humble, so that I can manifest, I can experience greater peace, love, prosperity, harmony, joy, protection, which we all want. So Kabbalah 1's teaching us, here's the system. I'm responsible for everything in my life. That doesn't mean I made them come and do that bad thing. That's their tikkun, we call it. That's their karma. But for my greater good and for my spiritual evolution, I have to see it from my point of view. It's exactly what I need in that moment to say, wake up, Chaim. You haven't been as compassionate as you can be. You haven't been all grateful as you can be. You haven't been completely tolerant, caring, generous, humble as you can be. That's why they're there, to remind us. Now, the essence, cause and effect. Infinite law, cause and effect. There is nothing that's not cause and effect. Now, one of the things you have to include in, like we said, if a person only sees the small picture of this lifetime, then they cannot see cause and effect, because it'll make no sense. Why are some children born healthy and some not? Some happy and some not? Some in nice families, some in bad families? If this person is only looking at one lifetime, then they will remain in a hellish existence, because things won't make sense. Why should this child be born that way? But you and I learn again from Kabbalah 1, everything is cause and effect. And we have to learn to see the bigger picture, even with the idea of reincarnation. Because if you don't include reincarnation, the big picture, yeah, good luck. Good luck. If a person doesn't, and again, I'm not telling you to just blindly believe, but I am encouraging you, do not dismiss it. Every religion on earth that I've ever heard of or studied, at least in its origins, if not still to this day, has taught reincarnation. You and I can see it even on a very simple, practical level. When you woke up this morning, was there nothing left over from yesterday, good or bad, that you brought with you today? You went to sleep yesterday at midnight and got up this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. You brought with you from yesterday your tiredness. Right? Or if you went to bed at 9 o'clock and woke up at 8 o'clock this morning, you brought in essence from yesterday some relief. That which was on your to-do list yesterday that you didn't get to, where did it go? Did it just disappear? Did the item just show up in your house today? Or do you have to do today what you didn't do yesterday? That's reincarnation, just on a bigger level. What we didn't achieve in our spiritual evolution to 100% last lifetime, we entered in this lifetime. If a person did mean, rotten, and nasty things at the end of their last life, and that's how they left, they enter this life mean, rotten, and nasty, which is why sometimes you'll see children either, unfortunately, under bad circumstances, or just initially bad kids, because they're just the extension of their past life. Now, I want to caution us, that doesn't give us the right or any benefit to judging them. Oh, that child has a defect, they must have done something horrible in a past life. That's not for us. For us, it's to have compassion. Because remember, their soul, my soul, connected. So I want to awaken the light in their soul so it also shines more of the light on my soul. But we do need to understand, because as one of the 72 names, seeing order through the chaos, seeing order through the disarray. That's what we learn here in the center. How to see order in everything that happens. And it starts with Kabbalah 1. That's why I've encouraged you all. Kabbalah 1 over and over again. Because we have to keep being reminded of the big picture and the essence of the technology and the support why we're here, how we got here. So otherwise, it's going to continue, not forever, but for a long while, this hellish existence that we see on earth today. And it is hell. Why is it hell? Because it's so confusing, like we've spoken about, right? Why is this happening? What's going on? Why this and why that? That's it. But when we can see cause and effect, it makes it easier. Makes it easier. Now I can, like directions, if I'm just trying to, like the old days, typically, forgive me, but men, we know we're not asking for directions. So we'll drive around for a half hour, not getting to our destination. We get hell from everybody else in the car. We feel hell from within until we break down. And they say, okay, you roll the window down. Can you tell me how to get there? They give you directions. You follow the directions. Boom. You're at your destination. Happiness and joy, family gathering, whatever the social event is. You have a good time. You follow the directions. You don't follow the directions. It just stays that way. So how do we cure this idea? How do we cure the chaos? Something else we've all heard, but I want to give you a little different perspective on it. Live in the now. It's a big thing the last maybe 20 years. Of course, Kabbalah has been teaching us for thousands of years. That's all there is. But if consciousness is everything, as we said today, what's the hellish existence? Not being conscious in the moment. Now we want to add one layer. What if we are being conscious in the moment? I'm going to pause. What should I do now? So I want to share with you that there are two aspects or two ways to live in the now. The 1% and the 99%. The 1%, the physical material aspect, the 5 sense aspect. The 99% is the spiritual existence, the celestial, the beyond the 5 senses, the 6th sense, or if you will, intuitive. So a person pauses. I'm in the now. I'm in the now. But I can still have two choices. I have one stream of consciousness of my pure soul, the light of God that streams into all of our heads 24/7. But then we also have that parasite that, go back to Kabbalah 1, remind yourself why we, humanity, implanted in our own head that parasite. And that's telling us, yes, live now. Instant gratification, scream, yell, fight, bite. Right? Like the saying, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow they may die. So everything is now, 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 now. But as we just introduced reincarnation, person who leaves this world in a bad way, reactive, selfish, jealous, ego, greed, etc., they enter in on the other side also the same way. It's no different. No different. So a person could be in the now in the 1%. Now what do I want? Now what do I want to get? Now how can I be comfortable? Now how can I get rid of that bad person around me? Now, sure, instant gratification, short-term fulfillment, and then the chaos sets in again, and the confusion on top of it. Or we can be in the now, and we can be acting, thinking, intending, I'm going to act like the light, listen to what the voice of the light is telling us, and then do the actions. Transformational sharing. How do I shine light instead of darkness? How do I extend greater love, kindness, and compassion rather than hatred, animosity, jealousy, greed, etc.? That's our choice. So even in the now, two forms of the now. So it's not enough just to say, oh, like people tell me, yeah, there's been a lot of things written on, intention and the power of intentions and things like that. Great. Now we're learning beyond just the first layer of intention. That's the beauty of what we learn here in the center. And just on a quick note, and I put it in the Facebook post for today, but I, recently getting a lot of questions because since we made Kabbalah popular all over the world, there's a lot of people out there talking Kabbalah. So I just want to remind you, what makes us unique is the lineage we have. You have the Rav and Karen Berg, whose teacher was Rav Brandwein, whose teacher was Rav Ashlag, the greatest Kabbalist probably in the last 500, 1,000 years. And you go all the way back through the Baal Shem Tov, the Ari, to Rav Shimon Bar Yochai himself. So you're getting pure, original Kabbalah. And that's why we bring it down to these levels. How do we make it practical that every human being on earth can apply it, leaving nobody out? Nobody out. So how do we cure it? In the now. Let me give you an example of that, something we might be familiar with. You heard the saying, if life throws you a lemon, they say make lemonade. But now let's think about it. So let's envision. Here's poor George sitting there minding his own business, and somebody takes a lemon and throws it and hits him in the head. George is now being awakened to the now, correct? Maybe he was daydreaming about the life he would like to live, he's not living, where he used to go, the vacation he was on, this and this and this. Boom, the lemon hits him in the head. Where is he? He's in the now, because now it hurts. In the now, like we said, he has two choices. He can start to cry, scream, yell, why me? God, what did I do? Why are they throwing at me? That horrible person. Blame, be a victim, and then have chaos. Confusion. Why did it happen to him? Didn't think about the cause and effect. Didn't think it's an opportunity for him to share, to change, a wake-up call. He just wants to hang out in the mud and the spiritual dirt of victim, blame, anger, jealousy, and all the confusion and the hellish existence. You and I, as the saying goes, we pause. Yeah, it may hurt, okay, but we're going to decide, I want blessings from this. I want to evolve spiritually. So I'm not going to fall into the blame and the anger and why and this. I understand it's my tikkun. It came to me somewhere. Maybe in the last life I threw a lemon at that person. Let it be that simple. Now they're throwing it back. But what am I going to do with it? Not only am I going to let that pay off the fact I threw it at them, but now I'm going to pick up that lemon, and in this lifetime now, I'm going to make lemonade so that I actually have an added benefit of a few dollars. Either I enjoy the lemonade myself, or I sell it to somebody for a couple bucks. Either way, I'm better off. Same experience, same situation. What makes the difference? Consciousness is everything. And as we've learned today, consciousness, the intention, the awareness, and the action. The action of blame leads to hell. The action of acceptance, responsibility, true Kabbalah consciousness leads to heaven. So it's up to us, my friends. It's not up to anybody else. We can decide whatever life throws at us. It's up to us. Chaos is confusion. Kabbalah is clarity. Confusion is hell. The Kabbalah Center giving us the ways, the means, the understanding, the technology, and the support, how to get to heaven on earth. It's our choice. Nobody can force you to choose hell. Nobody can force you to choose heaven. It's the cause and effect that happens to each and every one of us that helps us decide, as we committed ourselves, as we exited the endless world into this world, we committed ourselves to have a heavenly existence, to do as the Creator did in the upper worlds, metaphorically created a heaven. What you and I came here as one soul, completely united, was to make earth a heaven, a heavenly existence. With this choice, as we've been talking about, we chose to get ourselves kicked out of the Garden of Eden, heaven on earth. Now it's our work to get back. So as the Bible says, and this is what I'll leave you with, here, God talks to us. Imagine. Now you'll understand why it says this. God says, I set before you life and death, illusion and reality, good and bad. It says choose life, because it is our choice. This world has both. It's our choice. So today, for you and me and all our friends, let's influence them by our own choice. As we'll make the choice to choose life, we're going to influence them also, because they'll begin to see how our lives are evolving and we have greater peace, even through the challenges of life. But if we walk the path of life, handling challenges with a sense of inner peace, with a sense of serenity, with a connection to the light of the Creator, that's what people are going to see, and that awakens their light and their desire for that same thing. And then we can all walk that path to choose light, harmony and order, life, unity, and peace. God bless. Thank you. So again, I want to thank you all for all your support. Remind you, if you're on the Facebook page and you haven't liked the page, please like it. It helps us to spread this to, to be on a better, whatever they call it, a better algorithm, or higher on the algorithm, the more people will be led here. If you go to the YouTube page, we have the Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel. So if you're there, because I make an effort by the end of the day to post this video on the YouTube channel for your friends also, remember to subscribe to that. It all goes into this invisible cyberspace, they call it, and it somehow lets people know, let more people know that we're here. So help us with that. And again, let's take a few moments just to bless the offering, because we cannot finish the mission without your help and support. So everything that you give and share with us helps us, one, to bring more people to learn, so they'll also understand the power of this physical book. The Zohar just shines light, and the light will take away darkness. It will wake up the light of God inside the heart and soul of every person. That will lead to everybody proactively, preemptively, voluntarily changing their actions from reactive to proactive, from chaos creating and a hellish existence into heaven and order. So let's just take a moment. Those of you who are here, please hold your offering in your hand. Those of you online, I just posted the link where you can also go and give your donation. And let's just, number one, and most importantly, have gratitude. Gratitude for the consciousness and the awareness that the Creator is all good, the Creator has given us everything, that it's already inside of us, the potential for eternal heaven, eternal bliss. And we also have the power, the system, and the support to follow the path that leads us directly back to heaven on earth without the unnecessary pain and suffering that being off the path necessitates. And so we're injecting this offering with our love, our light, our blessing, awakening in our heart greater love, unconditional love for every person on earth. As we see through the illusion, and we see the light of God inside their soul. And we can feel the pain of their soul by not being expressed in their life, but being trapped in the actions of hatred or violence or animosity or judgment or greed or jealousy. And with this donation, with this gift, awakening the light inside of them, inside of us, to free us from the shells, from the walls, from the curtains that block our light of God from shining into our life and into the world. And we know the more people we help, the more the Creator is able to help us in return. The universe reflecting exactly cause and effect. As we do, so the universe will do back. And so with this love and our light, we send it out in the world to reach millions and millions and billions of people. And open our heart and soul to receive a greater awakening and more blessings in our life, more clarity and guidance. And together we say, Amen. For those of you who are watching us, have a marvelous week. Have a great, if you're in America, a great Thanksgiving. If you're not in America, just continue to have thanks and gratitude for all your blessings and even the challenges that come your way, because you have now the tools, the wherewithal, how to transform all the chaos to order and all the darkness to light. God bless. Have an amazing evening, morning, afternoon, and a great week. Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.